All right. Thank you so much for seeing us today. It's always pleasant being here. So tell us a bit about Chaperone. Who exactly is Chaperone? We've been seeing a lot of green and white around Marseille.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So Chaperone is a financial technology company with a very broad-based shareholding, predominantly Lesotho, and a few international investors from South Africa mostly, and then Canada. We were fully licensed by the central bank beginning of 2020. However, having launched in the midst of COVID, we only started 1st of October. So we've had our maiden year. In our maiden year, we were mostly trying to create confidence with the ecosystem and trying to get some corporate partnerships going. And we are in our second year now with a lot of interesting projects and now looking to scale because we validated our model into Botswana and South Africa. We received numerous awards. We work with a lot of consultants who want to see us grow, both locally and internationally, some of whom include the World Bank ecosystem, some of the companies in the US, Dubai, India. Yeah.
Fintech. It sounds like, for a layman, it sounds like a very complex or a preserve for financial people, number crunchers. Tell us really what exactly is the role of fintechs in a small economy like Lesotho?
Yeah, so this economy needs fintech. If one were to go back in time, you find that technology historically has been able to reduce the cost of doing business, and fintech is essentially an acronym or a short form for financial technology. So this is the utilization of technology at its purest to bring financial services to people. So that now it means that what historically was an elitist service, that is banking, can now be brought down to the grassroots level. So the more people have access to financial services, the more well off we are. So essentially, that is what fintech does and what it's supposed to do for society.
Mm-hmm. And for a market like Lesotho, how much uptake have you received of your services and products?
Yeah. So we have around 100,000 registered accounts. However, our model differs quite a bit from our existing mobile money ecosystem. We are predominantly a business-to-business solution, and that's how we measure attraction. So to date, we are partnering with a lot of institutions, mostly banks, believe it or not, and then also telcos. We do distribute some of their services, and they also give us the technology rails for our services to operate. Mm-hmm. But even then, we find that in some companies, mostly in the financial services space, there's still quite a need for the services that we offer. And the insurance space is one that has really embraced Chaperone to date, with more institutions or corporates to be onboarded in different industries.
Okay. And for a company that was registered by the central bank in 2020, I suppose there was a lot of background work that had been happening 3, 4, 5 years going beyond that. You are also talking of Botswana and South Africa. These are new markets, new targets that you have. What exactly is your vision regarding that expansion?
Oh, okay. So because when we started out, we were already quite as you said, broad-based, both locally and internationally. Mm-hmm. There was a sense within the company to say, we think we're onto something here. We need to validate it, and if it takes off, then we should immediately start looking into other markets. Because at the end of the day, the African demographic is more or less the same. You live with Lesotho, you go to Botswana. Yes, we have cultural nuances, but we're the same people. Even quite a robust market or big market like South Africa, the moment you leave the likes of Sentin and whatnots, you find that the demographic is the same. So, and the beauty about technology is that it goes beyond borders. And the thing about it also is that if you don't do that, you may lose to people or companies rather that are not even present here. People are using PayPal in Lesotho. People are using cryptocurrencies in Lesotho, but they don't even have establishments here. So, in as much as it's a growth opportunity, but it's also a survival strategy. So, that's that.
And what is your focus really in terms of this expansion? I keep going back to South Africa and Botswana. What are your targets regarding your expansion?
So the plays are different. Each market warrants a different approach. So let's take for South Africa, for instance. The play there, as far as we're concerned, is to enable Basotho living in South Africa to be able to remit money back home. And then when the money gets home, it can be utilized within the CP wallet. You also understand that half of household incomes in Lesotho are in the form of remittance. So if you don't have a play on remittance, it means that essentially you're losing half the mark in terms of any household's income. So that's just to bring in the second leg of the whole equation.
So you are two-pronged really. Apart from B2B, you are also targeting like individual clients,
yes.
Providing solutions. What sense do you get in terms of competition in the market? Lesotho is, no matter how many players are there, it's virgin territory really especially for the unbanked. There are a lot of unbanked people. What sense are you? What sense are you getting in terms of competition? We already have bigger players, existing players who have the financial muscle, right? But also, in some instances, you will find that bigger players are conservative. Yeah. And so, what exactly? The marketing guru should take
this is the right
approach.
Probably with the kind of services that we provide, we're not only focused on the mobile money platform. We offer different models of solutions to our customers. So that's where we beat most of our competitors. So we're not only focused on the customer-to-customer model solutions. We are also providing them the solutions that they won't need or use in the long run.
Okay. So you are visionaries in a way.
Yeah, and even from a strategic standpoint, people keep making reference to financial muscle. It's not the only muscle you need. So from a strategic, obviously any strategy has a lot of pillars. Financial resources are one. Also, other capabilities. We may not have the same capabilities, but we still beat them on other things. But for us, it's not so much about competing really. We are actually trying to shy away from that narrative. We see ourselves as another link in the chain, and we historically, when we came into the market, there was a sense that we were competitors. But upon having understood what we do and the augmentations that we bring into the ecosystem, then the likes of banks and other players are starting to think, oh, okay, these guys are actually adding value instead of siphoning value out for themselves.
Okay. And you, in this short space, this short period since 2020, you have bagged some awards. Tell us a bit more about the awards that you have.
So it goes back to what my colleague was saying. Most of these awards have been around innovation and how, like she said, we separate ourselves from the competition. So in mid this year we got an award from a UK-based magazine, labeling us as the most innovative digital payments platform on the continent. Even testament to that, just last 2 weeks ago we were in Kenya, having been called to exhibit to the banking fraternity and the central banking fraternity on the continent. Just to show them what Chaperone is doing and what we stand for. Because, it's one thing to say mobile money innovated the payments landscape on the continent. But an innovation on mobile money obviously also kind of, gets people kind of excited. So we're hoping that that excitement will get momentum.
Yeah, and you have this partnership with a Dubai entity. Tell us a bit more about that.
Okay, so the Dubai government has different free zones. There are plenty of these free zones, one of which would be Mauritius. But in particular, the Dubai Multi-Commodities Center, DMCC, is the #1 free zone in the world for 7 years running, if I'm not mistaken. So they are running a program to support startups around the world. 20 odd startups were picked to get into the program. And the program is an impact scale-up program. So they're looking for companies that are scalable and that are going to have impact. So we focus on the SDGs, or the UN Sustainable Development Goals. We focus on SDG 1, which is no poverty, and then SDG 8 and 9.
Okay.
So we're going to be getting support to realize our aspirations for scaling.
Speaking of aspirations, what are your aspirations like on the home turf in Lesotho?
Our aspirations here really are to fill the gaps, same as in any other market. Lesotho is usually a forgotten market because you see the likes of Kenya, Botswana is coming up. Because I think most times our geographic constraints make everyone forget about us. Essentially, people will think that Lesotho is like a province of South Africa. And the reason why it's so is because even the big players that are here are predominantly South African companies. But when these innovations from South Africa are created in South Africa, they usually don't make it onto Lesotho soil. So it leaves a very big gap to try to, bring Lesotho to parity with the rest of the continent. So if someone has to do it, yeah, it's got to be us.
Okay. You also mentioned geographical constraints. Normally, in other jurisdictions, whenever there are such constraints, visionaries will complement players like yourselves with favorable regulations. How has been the regulatory framework? How has it really supported your cause? Is it as dynamic as you want it to be, or is?
To be honest, it's quite interesting that our regulator has a lot of foresight. There's regulatory certainty, and if you're a company working within a jurisdiction, that's all you want. And being regulated also has its merits, in the sense that you're forced to think about things you didn't even know going into whatever business you're going into. So the regulator has been really supportive. They have the systems in place. I just think that the private sector has to take more advantage of those systems. Yeah.
And maybe lastly, marketing. Your growth has been mainly generic. I haven't seen you guys going all out robustly as others do. It seems calculated, and it seems to be working. Is this your plan, or is it happening on its own?
Actually, it's working wonders for us because I think our competitors are already scared of us. So the more we stay intimate, the more they think we're not working. And our results are the ones that scare them the most. So I think it's actually working wonders for us. Even though maybe we never thought we'll go down the line with whatever that is working. We're expecting to be something different, but it's bringing the good results.
And any plans for maybe more robust, more firm approach to marketing? We just as I was walking in here, we met two ladies who gave us flyers of Mohlumi Hospital. I don't even know what it is. I haven't seen CPay do that. I haven't seen CPay flyers in different spaces that people socialize. Do you have a plan to really go all out in terms of
Actually, yes, we do have a plan of going out. We are even expanding our team to make sure that we are on the ground, to make sure that people are aware of us and know about our products. Because we don't want next day when we talk about CPay and then you ask, what's that? We want you when we say CPay and then at least you give us something that you know that CPay provides.
Okay.
Also, just to add on to what she's saying, it has to be calculated in a sense. If you're budding and you're coming out, you don't want to make a noise about nothing. So it's also a function of where we are at. So coming into the market, we came in quite thin, and now our product stack is starting to get a bit thicker. So when we make a noise, people want to use our system for different reasons. So it has to be a phased approach, and also like we touched on, we don't have as many resources as our competitors have. We're working on it, but at the same time, I think the beauty of being B2B really doesn't warrant that much noise. You need to make noise in the right platforms. So our competitors. I hate calling them competitors, but I don't think they are. But they are mostly in the business of SIM cards and whatnot. So that SIM card is usually in an individual's hand. Whereas with a B2B solution, we need to be selling more to the person in the office, the decision makers. So we have our strategies for getting to those people.
The wine drinkers and the golf players.
Exactly. So those platforms are really, now that you mention it, that's our.
And so does this mean we are unlikely, or you are not really keen on things like robust branding, road shows, marketing through all kinds of platforms, in your face?
We actually partake in those. We even sometimes get to sponsor the products like those. But I think our aim here is to make sure that before we go out, make some noise, and then we provide what is it that we know that it's needed. It's providing the solution, so that we don't sell empty promises. When we sell the product to our individuals and our B2B partners, we know that this is what we have and this is ready to work. Not selling the product that we know that is not ready.
Not selling a dream. Alright, and maybe lastly, I keep saying lastly, you have told us you've partners or shareholders in South Africa, Canada, but who exactly is CPay? People want to know the face, who is the CPay? Of course, I know you, but...
Well, CPay, the face of CPay is everyone who works here. So, equally, when we set out to start, we set out to start as a public company. So it's just it goes against what most people think, that when people come together, things are doomed to fail. But we interact with companies, banks, insurance companies, from locally and abroad that are held by many shareholders, some even 200,000 shareholders. So the face of those companies, I mean, is their logos. So hopefully we can get to a point where So the foundation of it was totally different maybe from what we are used to around here.
Okay. No, thank you guys so much for talking to us today, and all the best. We hope to be seeing lots of branding in Dubai.